I've done 27 hunger awareness spots for public service announcements. My husband and I tend to do a lot of things for the End Hunger Network. We, in our movies, try and do things to promote consciousness in general. We make genre movies, and I tend to feel that if you make Gandhi, you're speaking to the converted. If you make They Live, you can get a lot of hidden messages through. So we tend to work in that way, besides using Facebook pages and Twitter and things like that to, and animal abuse, try and change the laws in Kentucky, where my husband's from, to get felonies, convictions on animal abuse, things like that. So really, wherever there's a cause that can use either the films or the comic books, with the comic books that we put out, we usually have a first signing for the Hero Initiative to aid comic book writers and artists who don't have health insurance. So wherever we can use our names to help, we do.
My partner, my husband and I have supported, like done marches and donated for equality in marriage for all consenting adults. And also, before I got my jobby job, I volunteered as a sexual assault response team advocate, where I would go and be the support person for someone who has been sexually assaulted and is going through the forensic exam. That's an extremely stressful time, and if all the person needed was for me to hold their hand, that's what I would give them. And then I also started doing public speaking about the topics like healthy relationship and bringing awareness of abuse. And one of my favorite topics is talking about consent. Every single one of us knows in this society that before we go digging through someone's purse, we need to do what? Ask. Well, there's nothing in our purses, nothing in our wallets that are more valuable than our bodies. But still, as a society, we don't understand that we need to ask before touching someone. So that's one of my favorite things that I do. And then when they called me up and said, would you please do this as a full-time job, I said yes.
I too help by donating to the Women of Wonder Day to support the victims of battery and domestic abuse. One of the card companies I work for, we do card sets for the March of Dimes, and I also rescue animals off the street. My day job is actually working for the Widows, Orphans, and Disabled Firemen's Fund, which helps support the families of Los Angeles firefighters who are killed or injured on duty or come down with like lung ailments or cancers from job. They sort of say once you sign on to be a firefighter, you're basically taking 10 years off your life minimum. So there's a lot of families out there that sort of lose their source of income and need a little help.
Charity work has always been an important part of my life. Growing up and still now, I volunteer at my local humane society. And animal rights is like a huge issue for me. And also kind of to tie it back to my comic is about a little girl who saves an elephant from the circus where he's being abused. And so I wanted to spread the word about that's happening right now. And I know there's a lot of protests going on in regards to that issue. So to me, I wanted to be able to raise awareness also with my comic as well. And so animal rights is always something that's important to me. And yeah, I have like a whole house full of like rescue animals that I've rescued off the street too, so it's a big deal for me.
And I myself also rescue strays, send cards to sick children. I do whatever is in front of me that I can to help. And the more creative an opportunity, the more likely I am to join on. So, all right, well, I brought the book. How many out there have the book? Woo! Well, more of you can get the book today. We're actually selling it at the IDW booth. And we're signing at 5 o'clock tonight, and that's a lot of ladies to get your signatures on. We also have another signing if you're local in Burbank at Emerald Nights. Yeah, those guys right there put that together with a lot of us. So Jenna Bush will be there and several others, and it's going to be very exciting. So, all right, the last question I have for you guys before I open it up to all of you guys. What do you hope Womanthology will do for the world?
Mostly I just hope it helps support more women in comics, to show them what's possible and to kind of help them basically just learn the steps how to get into comics and to kind of take down the mystery that's involved with when you're first starting out. Like for me, when I first started, I really just didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, I want to draw comics, here I go. And it was like, okay, what first? What do I do first? So now hopefully this just kind of leads them through the process and kind of makes it a little bit easier for them to take the next step with their career. So that's my biggest hope, is there'll be more women in comics.
I'd like everybody to take a look at Womanthology and realize the power of what one person can do. One person takes a crazy idea and keeps pushing it forward until it follows through and you have the fruition of the final object. Any one person can be that one person making one big thing happen. You just choose to do it and keep pushing and never listen to anybody who tells you you can't.
I'm hoping that Womanthology will actually force companies to consider women to be a viable market, because I'm really, really tired of not seeing anything that I would want to buy. And even though I do love superhero comics as they are now, I do think there's room for improvement, and I think that companies can do more to get women into comic book stores, reaching for things on shelves, even like women who don't really know what it's like to be a geek, or aren't naturally, geek inclined. You can show them, hey, there's some awesome stories and characters in here. There's something you can relate to. It's not just for nerds. There's a good story in here, you'll enjoy it.
Not there's anything wrong with nerds. Yeah, find your inner nerd. I'd like to think that the logistics of how we did it practically can show what a good model organising a project online can be, because I don't think very few of us knew each other before we started out on this project. I'd never met anyone else on the panel beforehand, and we've had people since our Kickstarter campaign ended contacting us to say, that was neat, how did you do that? And at the risk of selling short what was quite a lot of work, it's not actually difficult to do. It takes a ton of effort and a ton of time. But organising a project now, you've got something like Kickstarter to raise the funds. Now you can use Twitter as a way to meet loads of people in a very short space of time. I hope that will provide a good model for other people with creative projects they want to get off the ground and just don't have the team to do yet. This is a good way to pull a team together.
I thought one of the coolest things about this book was giving people the opportunity to work with people that they may or may not ever get to work with again. Hopefully they will, but getting folks who are not in the business a chance to work with people who are veterans of the business, and I think that was probably one of the coolest things about this project, just giving people that opportunity.
Yeah, at first I was a little hesitant because I worry about girl things that can be dismissed as sewing bees. I'm a kind of old school feminist that worries when you segregate something. But it looks like too much fun not to be part of. So I said, yeah. It looked like a good party.
I'm hoping Womanthology will continue to add to the diversity of topics and perspectives that end up on our shelves. And it would be awesome if it was seen more so like books and movies are, because no one's ashamed to go into the movies, no one's ashamed to go in to get to the bookstore, but some people are embarrassed to go to a comic shop. Really?
Pretty much everyone said what I would say, but I would just say that I hope that Womanthology gives young girls the encouragements to pursue jobs in the popular arts and to push forward instead of just giving up on their dreams from people kind of telling them that you can't really do it.
definitely like to see a lot of people who this is their first published work have it be sort of a springboard for what will hopefully be a career in comics. I mean, I know that's something I would definitely like, and I'm sure I'm not alone on that panel in that regard. But also one of the most touching things I saw was my local comic book store. I saw a 6-year-old girl sitting there for an hour paging through every single comic in Womanthology and asking questions for the employee who was sitting there reading it with her, and that was just one of the most moving things I've seen for this whole project. So even if there's just like kids who get really their first comic experience looking at this book, which was designed to be all ages, and that gets them into comics, that would be worth it.
Yeah, I would agree with that point, and that's the reason why I signed on to the project was I love comics, and I just want to share that with the world, and I want to share that especially with young girls, and to show them really what the comics medium is and the potential that it has. And definitely, even if it is like the first exposure that girls will have to comics, I think it's just such an amazing